and welcome to November TBR jar pick for 2024. This will be my first time doing a TBR jar. Normally I just mood read or I read based off of season. So this will be the first time that I actually have prompts to help me to pick out what I read. So as you can kind of see, I'm sitting in front of my bookshelf. There's actually 4 rows of books that I haven't read. So there's one up there that you can't see. This is the 2nd, 3rd, and then 4th. I don't have a fancy mason jar like everybody else does, but I have my prompts here. And I do have a trusty Taylor Swift Eras Tour cup, which I'm going to use as my jar. I can't believe it's November already, but I had a pretty good reading month in October. I finished 3 books. I'm still in the process of reading 1. For me, that's a lot. Since I started school, I haven't been reading too much, but since starting making videos, I've been reading a lot more. So I want to see, maybe I'll pick 5 or 6 books. That way I have enough to pick from, kind of mood read between those based off of the prompts. I don't necessarily think that I'll get to all 5 or 6 of the books, but at least it gives me an opportunity to pick between them. And if I can find any of them on audiobooks, it might make it easier because then I can listen on my way to work and school. But I've already dumped all the prompts here, so I'm just going to give it a good shuffle and then we can start picking our first prompt. Some of them are colored and then some of them are on white papers. Some of them are old prompts because I was planning on doing this video like a while ago. And then I just went and I watched a couple of other YouTubers do TBR jars, which gave me inspiration to add more prompts. So we'll see what I pick. Okay, so the first one, it says highest rated. So this one, when I made it, I wanted to look at Goodreads and figure out what on my list is highest rated. So I'm gonna look at Goodreads really quick and see if anything on my list that I already own that's on this shelf is something that's highest rated that I can read. Okay, so after looking at Goodreads, I'm so excited for this book. This is the final book in the Marked Mages, I think is what it's called, Chronicles. It's only on ebooks, so I don't have like a fancy Kindle. I still have an old like Amazon Fire tablet. Maybe for Christmas I'll get a Kindle. I actually started this. This is the 4th book. And for some reason, I just stopped reading it. Maybe I got busy and I started focusing on other things and I kind of forgot about it. But I'm almost about 100 pages in. It's a really long book for the ebook. I think the ebook was saying it was like around 700, almost 800 pages. But you really just fly through with the series. I have been loving the series. I think it's probably like one of my #1 book series. I'll definitely be talking about these books more in my end of the year wrap up in December when I go over all the books I've read this year, because I actually went back and reread all of them so that I could finish the 4th book because she just came out with it and I wanted to have a fresh memory for it. So I'm really excited to actually get to finishing it this month. So that's a good first pick for me. So let's go ahead and pick our second prompt. And by the way, that one was a 4.5-star rating, so that's pretty good. And her books for me have been like 4 or 5-star ratings. Like there hasn't been a single book from her that I did not like for Victoria Evers. Okay, so second prompt. Oh, we're just picking purple. So purple again. This one says a repeat author, so somebody that I've read from before. Doesn't matter if I like the author's previous book. It's just anything that I've read from them. So looking up here, oh, I know exactly what I want to pick. So I raved about her first book in my first video. I even brought up this book in my first video too when I was talking about fall books. And this one's gonna be The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I read her first book, The Dead Romantics, and I loved it so much. I even made my friend read it because I loved it so much. So I'm really excited to read this one. I even have her other book. So I know, like, I trust her reading even after just one book. I trust her so much. She's up there with Emily Henry for me. So I'm really excited to read this. It does have like a fall design here. I don't know exactly when it takes place for season wise, but I've been really wanting to read something else from her, so I think this is a really good pick for me. So I think that's a good balance, an ebook, a physical book, maybe one of these books I can figure out for an audiobook and I can get through it that way. But the third prompt, maybe I can pick one of the newer papers if I can feel them. All right. This one is Same Energy as the Last Song Listened To. So it might be a little bit hard to see. It's like a beauty guru. So I'm gonna have to go on Spotify and look at the last song that I listened to. Oh, I know exactly what it is, actually. Let me go look. Okay, so I went through my playlist. I'm in the mood to listen to kind of sad music right now. Not all those songs on that playlist are necessarily sad, but the recent song that I listened to was Down by Jason Walker. That is one of the books that, not one of the books, one of the songs that I heard on the soundtrack to The Vampire Diaries, which is my favorite TV show, that I just love. And I actually think that this book that I picked is perfect because one of the lines in the song says, "Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long." And I think this one is perfect. I have been wanting to read this one for so long. For some reason, when I went looking for it, they did not have it at Barnes & Noble, so I think I ended up buying it somewhere else. I'm not sure where, but I finally got my hands on it. This was extremely popular, I think, on TikTok. For a while, everyone was recommending it, and I watched Stephanie Bohr. I think she really likes this book, if I can remember correctly. So I'm really excited to get into this. I've heard it's super sad, which I guess fits the song, but part of that quote that I said for the song was "Something always brings me back to you," and the guy moves back to the town where he met this girl as a child when they were children. So I think it's gonna follow their story. So it is, you know, relating to the vibe of the song. So I think this will be really good. I'm in such a romance mood that all these books are really playing into that, which I'm thankful for. So that was our third prompt. Gonna pick out 2 or 3 more. We'll see how I'm feeling. So far, I think these books I can pretty much fly through. I think the only one that may take me the longest is the ebook because it is like almost 800 pages long. But I like to make my words super big so I can just fly through and just keep swiping, so it may be easier if I do it that way. All right, so the next one, this one is Letter Generator. So all I'm gonna do is probably just go on ChatGPT and ask them to give me a random letter, and then based off of that letter, I just need to find a book that starts with that letter. So let's go ahead and do that. Why would it do this to me? A J. I'm gonna have to look. I don't know what would start with a J. If I can't find anything, I'm gonna have to do another random letter generator. But I'm gonna take a look and see if I find anything that starts with J. Okay, I looked through all the books I own. I'm not surprised that I don't own anything that starts with a J. That is such a random letter. I'm sure there's plenty of books that do start with the letter J. I just don't own them. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to pick another letter for me. Okay, S. This is something I can definitely work with. There's a lot of books that start with the letter S, and I even see some so far here. So there's this one that I could read, Smoke and Key, which is kind of like a romance YA thriller almost. So that's a contender. The other one I see that I've been wanting to read for a while is called The Similars, where I don't know too much about it, but I know it's supposed to be like a mystery book where I think people all look the same. It just says the similars, can you be original if you've been copied? This one sounds so interesting. I love the way that the words are so big. So that's a contender. I have a lot, and like I'm seeing a bunch. I have The Summoning. This is an old book. This is like old YA, but I never got around to reading it. So there's that. And then there's also this one that looks pretty interesting. It says, to fight an everlasting night, her best hope is hidden in the 7 deadly shadows. It just says on the back, I don't think you're the girl you pretend to be. What sort of creature are you? Who are you? So that's pretty interesting. I like the design on the book with all the butterflies. There's so many more that I could pick. Like I see more over here because when I was looking for the J, I pulled out more boxes because I have more books than I can fit on my bookshelf and on the other bookshelf I have. But I'm gonna leave myself to pick between these 4, and I'm probably going to regret my decision just based off of how big the book is, but this one just seems the most interesting to me. And I remember buying it at the bookstore because they had this as the original cover. And I think I went back to Barnes & Noble like a week later and they came out with a whole new cover for all their books. And I was like, are you kidding me? But I don't mind this cover, actually. It looks pretty interesting and the sound of the book sounds super interesting. So I'm gonna pick this one for letter S. Okay, so that was prompt 4. Let's go ahead and let's do 2 more just to be fun and give myself some opportunity for more picks. So let's mix it up. Okay, I have this one. This one says a reread. So, think of what I like looked at the shelf and I was like, I know exactly what I want to pick. It's gonna be the Inheritance games. I read the first book, which is this one, and then I never finished the rest because I was still waiting for the other books to come out in the series, but she's done. They're all out. I think my mom owns them all, so I'm probably just gonna borrow them from her. But I want to reread the first book in order to complete and finish the series. This would actually be a fun video to do if I just binge read all of these and then we can just have a little vlog together. So that's a cute idea. This is definitely, I remember reading it. I loved it so much. So I'm excited to jump back into this world and figure out what happens in the first book because I don't really remember. I don't have the best memory. So that's actually kind of good when I do rewatch or reread things because it's a surprise to me all over again as if I'm reading or watching something for the first time. So I'm going to be able to read this almost as if it's my first time, and then I can actually finally finish the series. So this is my fifth book pick. So we just need 1 more. Let's see. All right, I have 1. Oh, 2 of them are stuck. Let's go with this one. This one says, pick a cover with the color of shirt that I'm wearing. And I'm wearing the best colorful t-shirt ever. Mine is gray. So I just need to find something that is gray. How fun. It'd be nice if it was like purple, orange. Not that I probably have any orange books. So gray. And it needs to be kind of the same shade almost. There's this one that I could do. It has green on it, but the side is kind of gray. So this is a contender. That one's more blue. It's hard harder than I thought it would be. This one's more black, but I'm thinking back there is kind of gray. Potentially. I think that there's one that would actually really go with it, but I'd have to reread the first book, but I think that it actually matches probably the best. So let me go get it. And I've been wanting to reread the series. I've actually never read like the whole series. I've only read the first book and then I never finished. I don't know why I do that every time I start a series. So let me go get that book because I think that might be the best color match. All right. Does anyone remember this? This is so old school. If you have been like reading YA since you were young adult, this is very familiar. This was up there with like Hunger Games and Twilight, very popular. This is the only one that I ever read and I never finished the series. I have no idea how it ends. I vaguely remember the first book. If I think about it long enough, I can remember, but I think up here is lighter, but down here is kind of darker. My shirt's probably just too dark. I think it's not going to be a perfect match, but I think it's better than these other two. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Maybe colorblind, but that is the one that I'm going to go for. Is this. Is that not the biggest throwback? Probably never thought you'd see this book in a video in 2024. But that should be all of the books. If I can hold them up here, I'll hold up my little e-reader with it. But these are all the books that I am planning on reading for November. Wish me luck to get through this. I tend to be, I don't really want to say I'm a slow reader. I just like to take my time with books so that I can really dive into the world and get to know the characters. And then I have a harder time starting a new book after finishing a book because I'm still so wrapped up in the world. So it's not necessarily that I read slow. Okay. I like to really sit with the world for a while. But I'm really excited to read every single one of these books. There's nothing that I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure, like I'm not prepared to read it, because there are some books on my shelf where like I know I want to read it and someday I will. It's just not the time right now. But all of these books I'm absolutely like so excited to read. So maybe that'll really push me into reading this month. I should have more time this month compared to what I normally do. Since I'm in school, I only have one class. Normally I have two. So maybe I'll have more time to sit here and read all these. I don't want to make a promise that I will read all 6 of them, but I will do my best. I think there's also another book I want to read, which might be another video idea. So that could be 7. And then there's a book that I'm still trying to finish. So that could be 8. So we have a lot of books to read for November. So this was a fun idea. And thank you to all the other people that I watched who did TBR jar videos. They were fun to watch. It made me really excited to do this type of video. I've always wanted to have something help me to pick out my reads. I'm such a mood reader, but I also do like having like a list to get through. So this is kind of a mix because I did get to pick what I wanted, but also a prompt helped me to pick. So this is pretty exciting. I'm going to leave those other prompts that I picked out. That way, in case we do this for next month, I have other prompts still in here to choose from. That way I'm not picking the same ones over and over and over again. Once I get down to the bottom, I can throw them in. If you guys want to leave me some prompt ideas, let me know in the comments and I can add them in here. That way we can do that. I don't know if I'm going to want to do this every single month, but I do think it's a good idea and a way to get me out of my comfort zone, to picking books that I didn't think that I would be picking up. Like, I love all these books and I want to read them, but these 3 for sure I did not think were going to be on my list in the near future. So I'm pretty excited to get to all of these. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to like, comment, subscribe, that would really help me feel supported in my channel. And you can also follow me on Instagram. It's the same name as my YouTube channel, just Michelle Fyrick. You can go ahead and comment and let me know types of books that you're reading and what you guys have planned for November. Now that Halloween's over, I don't know any fall-like activities. I'm having a Friendsgiving and a girls' night coming up this month, which I'm really looking forward to. But other than that, just reading and school and work. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.